going to go ahead and get this meeting underway. Jim Ward is not here. He's in Cheyenne at a meeting. And we wish him well up there in the windy Wyoming tundra. So I want to welcome everyone. Thank you so much for coming. This is a great turnout. Thank you so much. Well, I'm going to give my teammates some time.
Oh boy.
I had it open and I...
While Allie is getting that up and running for us, I do want to share a really interesting fact for you. Yesterday, I emailed Kate and asked her if she had data that would include how many people have lived here since we opened. Now, Kate put some pen to paper and maybe fingers to calculator and came up with a rough number for me. So we opened in 1980, and Kate was putting various figures together.
I was making it up.
So this includes when we opened this building, and then when we opened our assisted living, then shut the assisted living, and opened up the Summit. So roughly, this is a raw number. We've had about 2,300 people live here in our history. That's pretty impressive. So I just wanted to share that with you, and we'll get underway. All right. So as we go along with our meeting today, please feel free to ask questions, but we will have a Q&A at the end of our session. This meeting is being recorded, so if you do not want to be on the camera, just continue to face forward. Don't turn around. All right, let's meet some of our new residents. Here, on the Summit, we've got Sharon Benson on the 5th floor. Sharon, are you here?
I'm here.
Yay! Welcome. Welcome.
I have a short trivia for all of you. I grew up in West Alameda Baptist Church that founded.
Wow. So I'm just going to repeat what she said. Sharon grew up at West Alameda Baptist Church, the church that founded Eaton Senior Communities. That's amazing. That's amazing. Welcome. All right. 3rd floor of the Summit, let's welcome Peggy Bjork. Peggy, are you here? No, but we welcome her anyway. All right. And then 6th floor of the Summit, Terry Easton. I don't know if Terry is here. Terry, are you here? No, he is not. All right. So I'm going to do a little bit of rearranging here. Unbeknownst to Allie, I apologize. I'm going to let Lynn go first with our emergency prep moment. So we can fit in her schedule. She has a conflicting appointment. Let's welcome Lynn.
Thank you, Mary Ann. Now if I can get the reading glasses. Okay, I'm going to talk about falling down at Eaton. If you were to fall down or walk around and see someone that had fallen down, don't second guess yourself. Call the EMS. 911 brings a lift team. And the Eaton's resident handbook says if you find a resident who has fallen, do not attempt to lift. There are very good reasons for this. First of all, incorrectly lifting someone who has fallen could lead to the helper being injured. In addition, Maneuvered incorrectly, there is a risk of dropping the person or causing further injury. Paramedics know that even if medical assistance isn't required, they can provide the brawn and expertise needed to get a resident off the floor safely and confirm whether or not they need to go to the hospital. Calling 911 and requesting a lift team keeps everyone safe. Some of us are hesitant to call 911, especially if the person in need does not want medical attention. However, all 50 states have a Good Samaritan law that allows you as a Good Samaritan to place a 911 call without any liability. Your job is to request help and leave the decisions between the first responders and the person they are here to help. Any questions? Yes, Linda.
This is my question, but just a reminder, if you call 911 from your landline, you have to dial 2 lines.
Right.
Can you repeat what she said, Lynn, for the group?
Linda said that in order to call 911 from your landline, your apartment phone, you need to dial 911 to get an outside line first. Thank you, Linda. Bonnie?
Yes, I just want to make a statement.
Okay.
I fell out front one time. I didn't have my brakes on my walker, and I fell down on my side, and I can't remember who it was. Linda, do you know who it was that called 911?
No.
Somebody called 911, and the fire department came, and they knew exactly what to do with me. I sat there. I felt so silly. Well, I just sat there and waited for the fire department to come, and they came, and each one of them lifted me up. And I got to tell you something, those firemen are good looking.
Aren't they though?
Could you repeat that, please?
The firemen that come to help us get up are mighty good looking. Yeah.
I have a question.
Yes.
This was given to me by my family, and I wear it all the time. It's my alert button, and I have to charge it, recharge it every now and then. What happens for me to push a button? And it wouldn't be calling 911. I don't know exactly what it would do. I have not had to use it. I have not had to push the button except to recharge it.
Okay, so the question on the floor is, if you have some type of life alert system, what happens when you push that button because you're in need of help? When that is activated, it goes to that company's headquarters and they alert 911 on your behalf. And first responders come onto the property and they can gain access at either front door location. And we do have a Knox box located at each door that includes a fob and a master key to the units. And only the first responders have the combination to those lock boxes. We don't have the combination to those lock boxes.
Thank you. That's very interesting.
You bet. All right. I'm not sure if this is a question for me or a question for Lynn.
It's a statement.
Okay.
If you push the fob and somebody comes on the line, they will stay with you, excuse me, until the fire department comes.
So,
Stay on the line. You stay on the line with them and they'll be there, and when the fire department gets there, you tell them that and they'll end the call.
so when you activate your lifeline, your life alert, that operator will stay on the call with you until first responders arrive and take over the situation from the operator at that point. Yes.
What if you're not near a phone?
You're supposed to have one.
So the question is, what if you're not near a phone? I'm going to answer this two ways. If you have a life alert system, that mechanism does everything for you. But let's say you fall and you're not near a phone and you don't have your cell phone with you, what do? You, as residents here, living in an independent living setting, are expected to manage your own medical emergencies. So, you need to determine what is best for you. You might need to consider getting a life alert, or you might want to consider carrying your cell phone with you in your hip pocket at all times. So those things, that decision is going to be left up to the individual to determine the best steps. Now, we're not here 24/7, and we're not set up to help you with your medical emergency. So the onus or the responsibility really falls on each one of you.
Mary?
Yes.
Quick plug, from this discussion from last forum, Sarah Prithik and I have put together a presentation on April 4th here in the Centrum. It's a Monday, about Life Alert and the buddy system and what do you do if you fall and you're not near a phone. So if you have more questions, we will be answering those on April 4th at 1:30 here in the Centrum. So come join us. Bonnie?
Will we have a little notice passed out on our doors?
It will probably be in the newsletter, it will be on the calendar, and it will be on the bulletin board, so keep an eye out.
Okay.
Yes. Leah?
Well, after I fell January 2nd, my caseworker at Medicaid ordered a life alert button and sent it to me.
Yep, and Prithika's gonna go over that, so we will go over all the different options that you have. Judy?
Well, if you wear your thing that you're supposed to wear and you fall about a block from here, then how do they know?
We will go over all of those questions April 4th, so stay tuned and join us April 4th at 1:30 here in the Centrum.
And don't fall until that time.
That's right.
Yes.
I have a question going back to where she said from your phone to dial 9 and then 911. But I have a little red button across the top of mine that all you have to do is touch it, which I unfortunately did accidentally not too long ago. I was just kind of wiping off the phone and I hit the red button and it just dials 911 immediately.
Oh.
And I about collapsed because I used to be a 911 dispatcher. So I was very embarrassed when he answered. And I said, I'm really sorry, this is an accident, I'm fine. And he said, no problem. Hold on just a minute and I'll reset it and you're fine. So he did that. And I had been sitting in the chair, so I went over, because I just had hip surgery, went over, laid down on my couch, and within about 3 minutes, I had the fire department knocking on my door.
Oh,
So they come automatically. I said I canceled, and they said no. We respond automatically. And I don't really want to check your phones to see if you have that little red button, but I do.
So the comment on the floor is that your neighbor's phone has an actual 911 button on her landline. Couple questions. Is that landline, was that issued by us or did you change out your phone?
No,
Just,
it's
okay.
it's the little white phone.
Okay. That is something I'm going to have to investigate further. Michael, do you have some comments on that?
Some of the older phones had caller ID.
Let me get you the mic. I didn't even know you were back there.
Yeah. Some of the older phones that the company used to give before have like a caller ID screen on it and various buttons to do things. One will be a button that calls the police department, another's a button that calls 911. We no longer have access to those phones anymore, but we do have some of the apartments that have those phones, and that red button is a 911 button. Yeah, but not all resident phones have that. The models that we stock now are just a basic phone with none of those frills on it.
Thank you.
All right, okay, I think.
Any other questions?
I
All right, so, let's give that up to Lynn.
And thank you for bringing this very important topic to the table. Thank you. Okay, we'll go back to my slide. And look, it only says one thing up there, but I've got 4 more things I've added since I put that slide in. I apologize. Just a reminder, if you're using the complimentary carts in the lobbies to take groceries in, move things in from your car up to your apartments, please return those in a speedy fashion so your neighbors can use them. Next on my list is if you have a car and you're using the parking lot, you have a spot in the lot, friendly reminder to please be as careful as you can, parking between your lines and not veering over to the left or to the right and getting into your neighbor's parking spot. Just another reminder, we talk about this at every forum and I just want to reiterate it. Let the vestibule phone system work for visitors and guests. You might have an inclination to open that door for anyone trying to get into the building, but we want to keep this place as safe as possible for everyone living here, everyone working here, everyone visiting here. So let that phone vestibule system work so that visitors and guests can be buzzed in by whom they're here to visit. And I want to just talk about this room specifically. We've got some exit doors here, egress doors that head out into the smoking area. These 2 doors in this room are emergency doors only. They're not to be used to exit the building for any reason, unless it's an emergency. And then likewise, when we have meetings like this, we can't obstruct that. I'm not going to have you move today, but we need to keep those doors completely clear at all times for every meeting or function we have in this room. And lastly, we have a formal designated smoking area on the campus. You all know it's right out back here. When the pandemic came, we added 2 more designated smoking areas. Out front on the south end of our campus on the sidewalk and the north end of our campus on the sidewalk. You can't smoke in any other areas on our campus, so you need to contain your smoking to those 3 areas. As a reminder, that's all I have. Next slide, please. I would like to formally introduce Michael Ramsdale from Plant Operations. Let's give him a very
People of Earth, greetings. Just a few things to review with you. Always like to review our trash and recycling protocols. Things have been getting much better, so appreciate that. Appreciate your efforts. Trash must be bagged, and it goes into the trash can receptacle in the trash room located on each floor in the res or on the 3rd floor in the Summit building. And then your recyclables must be loose in the recycle can on your respective floor. We cannot have recyclables bagged in there because the bag is not recyclable. So those items have to be loose in there. And also, I see, I'll get you. Also, any incontinence products or puppy pads or anything like that must be taken out to the trash cans located along the fence. Those are not to be put in the trash room receptacles on your respective floors. Yes?
I live on the 3rd floor. Almost every time I go to the trash room, there are bagged recyclables in there. Some of them aren't even recyclables. And I don't think people understand that we get fined if we get stuff in there.
Yes.
And I wish somehow the new people could be doing that. They didn't have any people.
Well, thank you for emphasizing that.
Would you repeat that, please? I couldn't.
She was just saying the same thing I was saying, that recyclables cannot be bagged, they must be loose in the recyclable receptacle. Please put in work orders for Any work that you need done in your apartment, work orders are placed through the reception office during normal business hours, Monday through Saturday. If you have an emergency, please call that on-call emergency number. But that needs to be for an emergency. We had somebody spill some laundry detergent in the elevator. That's not an emergency for us. So emergencies, you have a plumbing leak, the toilet is clogged up, isn't working, your sink is overflowing, you have a pipe that has burst in your apartment or something like that. It needs attention. Those are emergencies, so call us for that.
Michael,
Okay?
can I ask,
Yes.
if you speak to the fact that the maintenance team, they do not do wellness checks, you know,
Right, Eaton does not do wellness checks, and that includes our maintenance staff. Please do not ask us to check on a resident or someone else. If you have concern for one of your neighbors, please call 911 and ask for them to come and check on that individual. We do not do that, okay? Yes?
When we have snow days or when the staff are not on duty, there is an emergency number. There's an actual one you dial,
That's right.
and I'm not quite sure what that would be, what kind of emergency you would dial for.
So as we just talked about, so if you have a plumbing issue, or you don't have heat, or you don't have air conditioning, those are emergencies, call the number for that. Whether we have a snow day or a regular day, that number should not be called for anything but an emergency, okay? And also a reminder that we have housekeeping services available to you. Mary Ann Mondragon is our housekeeping coordinator in the back there. We would love to get you on the schedule for any kind of housekeeping services. We offer laundry service, we offer trash removal, we offer apartment cleaning, apartment tidying and decluttering, all those good things at your convenience. So please utilize that. Final things, thank you everyone for your cooperation during our REAC inspection this last week. I know it's never fun to have strange people coming to your apartments and these types of things, but we were able to get through everything and everyone was very cooperative, and we have a couple of small items that need to be fixed as a result of that inspection, so we thank all of you for your cooperation with that, which leads me to my final comment. You received today a door hanger in this building for our annual apartment inspections. People are asking me, is this the inspection that we did last week? No, this is a different inspection. We have to inspect every apartment every year as part of our organization. So we will be doing that. The dates are listed. We'll be doing 2 floors a day over the course of 3 days the last week of this month. So there is not an option to opt out, and HUD has taken away the self-inspection option. During the height of COVID, they allowed residents to complete a self-inspection form. They're not doing that now, and an agent of Eaton Senior needs to actually physically inspect the unit. So we appreciate your cooperation with that, because we're required to do it. As much as some of us don't want to see me in your apartment, I don't want to have to go to everybody's apartment, but we have to do this. So I promise to make it as quick and painless as possible for you. Yes?
do they come in whether you're home or not?
Yes, yep.
Could you repeat the question?
Yeah, the question is, will we, on the date of that inspection, will we come in whether you're present or not? And yes, we will. Yes, we will, because they have to be inspected and the dates are posted as of today when we will be there. So if you'd like to be present, feel free to be present. You do not have to be. It will be yours truly doing all of the inspections. So any other questions or concerns about that, give me a call at extension 3089 or shoot me an email at mransdale@eatonsenior.org. All of that information on your flyer for your convenience. Friends, what a great day. The weather's great, you're great. Any other questions for me before I let you go? Yes?
When you're really, really, really done with that shirt, can I have it, please?
Negotiable.
Thank you, let's give it up for Michael. welcome Jason Klickman to the podium. Let's give him a round.
Hello, everybody. Got a quick dining updates.
You have to kind of kiss that microphone.
Okay, can you hear me? Okay, we good. All right, awesome. All right, couple of quick updates. Starting April 2nd, we are going to bring back the Saturday cafe and grab-and-go store. We're just going to do that for Saturdays only, though. We are still going to be closed on Sundays, but there will be food options on Saturdays starting April 2nd. We will be open from 11 to 1 on Saturdays. Okay? And the next thing I have, if you guys have any of these green boxes, please bring them back to me. This is my only box I have in the kitchen right now. So that means I have 170 boxes that are in people's apartments. I'm really trying to get away from using all the styrofoam. So if you could please bring these boxes back, we'll wash them and refill them with your to-go orders. But please, bring these back.
What about the plastic containers that we already bought a while ago for $10? Are they ours or do we supposed to return them?
You can go either way with that.
Okay.
If you want to bring those to us, we can wash them and reuse them because they're the same exact. They're the same exact ones. Or you can just keep a hold of those. I bought a whole new set post-COVID to try to get rid of all the styrofoam that we go through. So there's plenty out there, but this is my only one. So this is what I get to start with tomorrow. There's one box. Okay, any questions? Going once, going twice.
Thank you, Jason. All right, and before I hand it off to Diana Delgado, our president and CEO, is Sarah Schroeder here? Because we do have a guest.
No,
She's
not here today.
Yeah. Oh, I did not get the memo. Okay. All right. So I am pleased to welcome Diana Delgado to the podium.
So here's a fun fact. April Fool's Day will be the 14th anniversary of when I started working here. And I'm still being fooled, as some people tell me, yes. But I've been in my new role now for 6.5 months today. So, yeah, can you believe it? It's been 6.5 months. So we started this diversity, equity, inclusion, and accessibility moment at last month's forum. And so I'm going to share with you today a little bit about implicit bias or unconscious bias. Prithika, is Prithika here? Oh, there she is. She's standing right there. So Prithika belongs to the American Association of Service Coordinators. And they put out an emailed newsletter now and again, and their latest newsletter had a really nice write-up in it about implicit bias. So I wanted to share that write-up with you today. It says, we make countless decisions every day without even realizing it. These choices are heavily influenced by something researchers call unconscious or implicit bias. And deep-seated in our minds, the subconscious opinions we hold on race, gender, appearance, wealth, and more have been formed through many years of various influences. So the concept of unconscious bias strongly impacts how we relate to others. And so you do have the next slide up. So here's a few ways that unconscious bias can cloud our judgment. So perception is how we see and perceive reality. Attitude is how we react to certain people. Behaviors are how we is how receptive or friendly we are to certain people. Attention are which aspects of a person we pay most attention to. Listening skills, how much do we actively listen to what certain people actually say? And then micro-affirmations, how much or how little we comfort certain people in certain situations. So overcoming unconscious bias starts with an awareness that we all carry biases. Change can come through education, interactions, and conversations. So here are a few simple steps that we can take to begin to eradicate bias. Thank you, Allie. So interact with people who think and act and feel differently than you do. Simply being exposed to people who are different from us tends to make us a bit more open-minded and tolerant. Make an effort to watch listen to and read media and programming that state opinions different than yours. And try to analyze thinking, motives, and attitudes of others and think how you would feel in their shoes. This simple act will make you more tolerant and perhaps less biased. So, take that and chew on that for a little bit. Questions and answers. So the only update I have for you today is many of you have probably seen me and Tracy and Michael and Kate walking through the building with lots of different strangers recently, looking at the kitchen and looking at the common areas and doing tours. So the reason we were doing that is we were actually interviewing lending organizations to refinance this property. So we will be refinancing the property and doing some capital improvements. You already have seen some of that happening already. We have the roofing project happening, over the fireside room, and we have lots of things that we need to be upgrading at this point in time. So, and apartment renovations are included in that. So we will be refinancing and really putting together a solid plan of for the next 10 years of what we need to be doing to maintain our property and our buildings. So with that being said, you will still see more people coming through the building because there's a lot of different things that go on during this process. So we will have appraisers out here. We actually have a gentleman coming next week to walk the property because we're doing a rent comp study, a rent comparability study for our HUD contract. So there will be lots of people in and out. So I don't want, I don't want rumors coming up like, oh, they're going to sell us. No, we're not selling technically. We're just trying to set ourselves up for the future of this organization to make sure we're reinvesting into the property. Are there any questions about that? Mary?
How will that affect our rent?
It will not affect your rent. That's a good question. It will not affect your rent. Any other questions about that?
I'm not quite sure if I should even ask this question, but I'm in the Summit and got a remodeled apartment that had been assisted living. And it's my understanding that we're very, very lucky to have United Health, for example, and Bloom to come here to the building. And I was wondering to know if that designation is kind of still on there because I think it gives some added services that maybe if they took that off of the assisted living designation off, it might not give the same services.
So the question is, do we still have the assisted living designation?
Well, there's some kind of an attachment to the label. And we know that it's independent, those of us who live there and everything.
Mm-hmm.
But we are also getting some health care that may or may not have had some advantages of having it called assisted living.
Oh, I see what you're saying. So the United Healthcare Plan, okay, thank you. The United Healthcare Plan is actually called an assisted living plan.
Yeah.
That is not a designation we gave to it. That's a United Healthcare term. So we can't change that name, unfortunately. But I am glad to hear that folks are taking advantage of the partnerships that we do have with United Healthcare and Bloom, the Optum program, so that you do understand that services can be delivered right to your front door. So that's great. Linda?
I want to make one comment, because I've been on United Healthcare ever since I came here. But when it got to this assisted living plan, which I think Sarah brought to my attention, I was amazed at how much better my coverage is now.
So Linda's comment was, now that she's on this plan, the Optum plan, that your coverage through United Healthcare is a lot better.
Yeah.
Yep, there's a lot of perks to that plan.
That's the same with me. I had just gotten a plan when I moved in and changed to this plan. And I had someone get in touch with me, a gentleman came to my apartment this morning to analyze my plan opposed to others. He said this is the best plan he has ever seen. He left some cards because he would like to have analyzed it and possibly sold me another plan. I was really impressed with him, but I've never seen a plan like we have here. It was amazing.
Yeah, the comment about the United Healthcare plan being very amazing, very service rich. Yes, Jim?
I want to go back to the apartment remodels. Are you still having the list of those of us that have been on it forever?
So the remodels that we will be doing from here on out are strictly units that are going to come open for re-rental, okay? So the remodel list that we keep currently is strictly for those 26 apartments that have been upgraded several years ago with, you know, the top of the line stuff. So those are the units you can actually move into. So yes, that list will still be maintained for those specific apartments. But we will no longer be moving people in and out of your own apartment to do remodels. So if you want a remodeled unit, you would have to get on that list. Rosalie?
How do you get on the United Health Plan here?
So you can either talk to Prithika or Sarah about that, and they
What
will.
was the question?
Oh, sorry, thank you. The question was, how do you get on the United Healthcare Plan? All you need to do is talk to Prithika or Sarah. They'll help you through that process. Any other questions?
This is off the subject of healthcare. I had a very pleasant surprise yesterday. I was outside, I came in to use the restroom, and a woman who was coloring on the wall asked me if I had seen the pig yet and had a margarita. I feel so fortunate because I never saw this event publicized. Was it publicized somewhere?
Was it on Touchdown or anything?
Well, it was on,
So what are we talking about? Yeah,
Just tell me and then I'll read it.
Yes, it was on the bulletin boards yesterday, but it was on Touchdown and on the weekly calendar.
Okay, so the question was, or the comment was, how fun the activity was yesterday with the pig. So that we had a pet pig here visiting yesterday, and with margaritas, which, you know, who doesn't want pigs and margaritas? And so the question was, did we advertise it, because it wasn't well known. But Allie's telling me it was on the calendar. It was also on Touchtown. Yes. So, and there were flyers up on the bulletin board.
Flyers, there were flyers, very nice.
They leave the building.
I wish we had more.
I'm sure the pig will be back. I'm sure. Becky, did you have a question?
Yeah, it was just a general question. Are we to that point yet?
Yes.
I just want to inquire about the snow days and how the staff is given them. Are you assigned a certain amount every year? And
So-
then is it like a use or lose?
So the snow days are strictly the question was, how do we determine the snow days? So this is literally a storm by storm decision. It is not a certain allotted amount of days, nothing like that. We really try to keep tabs on we take this really seriously, because we do know that, you know, shutting down the dining room is a big deal. And so we take a lot into account before we make that decision. Sometimes that decision is, wow, we made the right decision. And, you know, other days it's like, how much snow did they get in Lakewood? Only an inch? Okay, well, we're expecting 6, you know, so it's hit and miss, you know, sometimes with the weather. But we tend to make those decisions when it's in the heavier snowfall totals, or for example, we do know there's going to be freezing rain beforehand, and road conditions can be pretty bad, and you know, we're just thinking about the staff who are traveling pretty far to get here. So that's how we make those decisions.
Also,
We
I
have
wanted
a
to,
special weather station that, there's several on there, and I'm new to the area, and like the 7 or the 9, or the weather channel was the daily thing. It is what one do you use, because I have swing, and I could find out which one you're using.
Yeah, so what we do when we're making this decision is we go to a lot of different outlets. So the question was, how do we make the decision about snow day? Where do we get the information from? So I personally have the AccuWeather app on my phone. Marianne checks the news stations and sends links to me like 24 hours in advance so that we can read all the different weather reports, because you do know if you can change this station to another news station, it's like, okay, it was 1 to 3 inches, now it's 3 to 6 inches. What's the real story? The U.S. National Weather Service is also, I'm actually on their, I follow their Facebook page, so I follow all of those alerts. So we do take that into a lot, you know, we take it from a lot of data points before we make a decision. Becky?
I heard some people talking about when they add the snow stuff into the barrels, they buried it on top of the scoop. So the scoop was way down, wasn't even visible.
So the comment on the floor was recently when our maintenance team added more ice melt to the red buckets outside the doors, that the scoops were buried at the bottom. They were not buried. They were stolen the night before. All of our scoops were stolen the night before. And that same night, someone stole the phone out of the vestibule here in the residences. So I did file a police report, and it's been documented with Lakewood Police Department. So the scoops were not buried. They were sadly stolen.
Oh, okay, thank you.
Are there any other, go ahead.
When are you going to reset the clock in the dining room?
Jason, when were you resetting the clock in the dining room?
I'll do it right after this meeting. I wasn't even thinking about that. That's my fault.
The clock will be reset. Did you have questions over here?
I do have a question. Being as old as I am, I won't go into what I went to get to work. But if the children can go to school, I fail to understand why our employees can't get to work.
Not all of our employees drive, number one. So not everybody has a car. I said that not all of our employees drive. So some of them do rely on public transportation. We also take into account the fact that we have lots of parents on our staff who also are dealing with children who either have no school or late starts. So we take that into consideration. It's not just a matter of, the highways sometimes are pretty clear to get here, but side roads aren't. Sometimes people have a hard time just getting out of their neighborhood. So, we do take into account all of that when we're making those snow day decisions. The world has changed.
The employer's responsibility and not the employee.
We care about our employees and their safety. Yeah, absolutely. And I know you all do too. So that's, we make those decisions based on wanting to keep people safe.
So yes is the answer to your question.
We want to keep people safe. Yes. Any other questions? Yes, Sharon.
Can you talk a little about the security that you have here after hours and on weekends?
Yeah, so the question was, can I talk about the building monitors and what their role is? So they're not security, but what we do, we have them on shift from, Michael, are they here at 8 or 8:30? Where did he go? Oh, okay. I think it's around 8, yeah. They're usually here around 8 p.m. through 6 a.m.
I think it's 6:30.
Well, then they start at 8:30 then, because they're 10-hour shifts. So, so they just kind of, they're just here as a presence. They help empty trash at night. They make building rounds, make sure, offices and doors are locked. They're monitoring the cameras at the front desk. Often calling 911 if they see something suspicious. So they're just here to just kind of monitor. That's why they're called building monitors. They're monitoring the building, and they're here 7 days a week. So Guy is here Monday through Thursday, and Keith is here Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. So if you have noise complaints or you smell cigarette smoke in the hallways, those kinds of things, you can actually call the front desk at night and ask them to investigate, and they'll do that for you. Dee?
I gotta thank you, have to thank you for you all letting me go ahead with my exercise class on Wednesdays and Thursdays. I appreciate it very much.
Thank you, Dee, for providing the exercise classes. I'm glad to see everybody trying to get out and about again and really reinvesting in our social wellness here in our community. So thank you for that. Any other questions or comments? Bonnie?
I am very impressed with how well kept this place is.
Thank you.
Bonnie
is very well impressed with how well kept this place is, and that's thanks to Michael's team for sure. So, thank you, Mary Ann.
You're welcome.
Everybody's
welcome.
It's not me. I'm just joking.
I see her back there. All right. Well, if there's nothing else, I think it's cookie time, correct? All right.
Cookies!
Thank you. That's